G'day folks, welcome back. The other day something really funny happened. I went to a shoe store because I need some new dress shoes. You know, two of my friends are getting married this year, and I thought I'm gonna get myself a nice pair of new leather shoes. And I went into Sydney City at a CBD and went to this gentleman's shoe store. And I walk around, and the guy's asking me what I'm looking for, and I tell him sort of. And one thing comes to another, and I start talking about Bitcoin. As this is very common for Bitcoiners, that they just can't keep their fucking mouth shut and start talking about Bitcoin in about 2 to 3 minutes into a conversation. This is usually how this ends up. And instead of the guy selling me some shoes, I basically sold him Bitcoin. And he was asking me very good questions, and we talked about it for probably about an hour. I was in this shoe store for about an hour, and we just talked about Bitcoin. And I just explained the things to him. Yeah, he was asking very good questions, and he asked me if he's already too late to buy Bitcoin. He thinks basically he's too late, right? And a lot of people I talk to, they always think they have missed the boat. And this is a very common misconception of how Bitcoin works, because it's simply a better technology. And it is never too late to just adopt the better technology, right? If somebody still uses like letters to communicate with somebody on the other side of the world, for example, and you show them how to use an email, then it is very likely that this person just adopts the email, because it's simply way easier and more efficient, to send an email across the ocean and not wait for 2 weeks until the letter arrives via air freight or whatever. So Bitcoin is simply a better monetary technology, and I don't think anyone is too late ever to use that technology. So people who bought at 10 cents and then they sold it at $1 thought they were too late as well in the beginning. And then Bitcoin went to $10, and then people thought they were too late. And then it went to $100. They thought they were too late, and then it went to $1,000, and again, and to $10,000, and now to $100,000. And just 2 days ago, it has hit a new all-time high of $111,000. That is just absolutely mind-blowing. Bitcoin is now a $2 trillion asset in US dollar terms. So if Bitcoin itself would be a country, then it would be probably the size of Australia. That has around, the Australian dollar has around a market capitalization of 2 trillion US dollars, which is around 3 trillion Australian dollars. And so I don't think, if people think they're too late, that is just simply not true, right? I think that Bitcoin is going very soon to $1 million, and then it's going to go to $10 million, and then it's going to go to $100 million, and then it's going to $1 billion. I truly think that, because Bitcoin is a 0 or 1 technology. Money is always a winner take everything technology. If you look up history, gold, when humanity adopted a gold standard, gold was eating everything else, right? There was no other standard, silver standard, copper standard, glass bead standard, or whatever. It just simply can't compete with gold. And that's why every nation who adopted a gold currency or gold-backed currency just outcompeted every other country, right? The Western world has adopted a gold standard: France, England, the Netherlands, and they were just the richest nations over the last couple centuries. And it's just absolutely fascinating, if you ask me, right? So also, if you look at the adoption chart, Bitcoin is adopted at around 4% by humanity. So around 4% of all humans in the world, of 8 billion people, use Bitcoin as their savings or own Bitcoin, or basically have it adopted. And now full adoption would occur at around 60 to 70%, right? So we have another 56% to go. And you see how the upside of this asset is just absolutely tremendous. So I love to think about these things, because we're just at the beginning of a technology S-curve adoption, right? It's like it goes like this, it starts and then goes exponential, and then it just kind of like flattens out over time. And we just at that inflection point where it's adopted completely exponential, because everyone will notice that Bitcoin is just a better money. And if you use Bitcoin, your life just gets exponentially better. So yeah, that's why I think you actually not too late to own Bitcoin and to buy Bitcoin. We are just getting started. The party hasn't even started yet. You just need to look at it from a little bit a longer time horizon, not just the volatility over a couple of weeks or months. You kind of need to look at this asset in like a 10 to 20 year time horizon, and then things become very clear how this actually works out. And as I said before, it's a 0 or 1 technology. So Bitcoin is either going to 0 or it's going to 1, and 1 means that it's gonna eat everything else. It's gonna eat all the other assets, or I don't want to call it eat all the other assets, but it's gonna draw capital from all the other assets in the world, from the bond market, the treasury bill market, the stock market, the real estate market, the gold market, and collectibles, collectible art, all of these asset classes. I think that Bitcoin is just taking some percentages of these asset classes. And then, that's why I think Bitcoin has so much in front of it. And also, I do think that the Bitcoin network itself is just like a black hole in the asset space, right? It's just smart, intelligent people will realize that Bitcoin is simply a better store of value than almost everything else, or than everything else, and will deploy their capital into the Bitcoin network. And that's why I think you're not too late to buy Bitcoin. It's always good to just adopt a better technology, to be smarter, harder, faster, more intelligent, and get on a Bitcoin standard at some point, right? Thank you very much for listening. Until the next one.